everybody. Welcome in. Happy Tuesday to all of you. How's everybody doing out there? How we doing? Hi, Bonnie. I've missed you. Hi, Evelyn. It's so good to see you. Hi, Terry. Hi, Lydia. Raina is here. Hello, hello. Hi, Miss Sandy. How are we doing? Hi, Cheryl. Oh, Nicole is here as well. So good to see everybody. All right. Well, it's Tuesday, you guys. I did not do a Feel Good Friday show on Friday because I was on a very quick trip to LA, but I am back now and ready to hit it hard for the week. Let's see. What do you guys need to know? So just because there was not a Feel Good Friday on Friday does not mean that I did not put a couple of kits into the Etsy shop. Some of you may have seen them. Some of you did purchase those. Some of you may not have seen those. Just in case you did not see those, just know that there were a few little kits that I did upload on Friday. I think it was 2 bracelets. No, it was a bracelet, earrings, and a necklace. So it was only 3 kits, but they are there. And I think there are some leftovers that have still been that are still available. So just keep that in mind. And of course, this week I will be doing a regular Feel Good Friday show. So no worries there. Now, next week I will be back in Austin again in my office there, and the schedule will just adjust. We'll just adjust. So I'll keep you guys posted. But you guys know it's crazy days around here, lots of travel and lots of things going on. So I appreciate everybody's flexibility on all of that. And I am happy that we are here today to do a project. So as you guys know, it is Make It For Me March. Make It For Me March means that all of the projects that we are doing here in the month of March are specifically for ourselves. We are taking time this month to remind ourselves why it is that we love jewelry making and why we got into this hobby and or business in the first place. It is very easy this time of year to get covered up with other things and other people because people are gearing up for their spring shows. They're gearing up for, craft fairs that are coming your way in the spring and summertime months. Those of you who have a very heavy bridal community that you serve and you do a lot of weddings and a lot of wedding jewelry in the summertime, I know that you are swamped with all of that right now. So we are serving others with our jewelry making right now. Through March and April, those tend to be the busiest times for those of us who are doing those kinds of things. So it's very easy to get burned out. It is very easy to, find to not be able to find the joy in it. So I want you to take some time this month and use one of these prompts that we do weekly, or use one of our weekly projects as an inspiration to create something just for yourself, to remind yourself of why it is that we love doing what we do. Even when we do it for everybody else, we can still take a moment and make something pretty just for us. All right. So that being said, the last week we did a project that was a stringing project where we used these beautiful pearls. I used a pendant that I loved. I made this piece just for myself. No different today. We're going to make a piece just for me, and hopefully it will inspire you to make a project just for you. I am going to be doing some pearl knotting. Now, I've not done pearl knotting in a while, and I have been sitting on these beads. I can't wait to show them to you for a while with this project in mind. I've just not done it. So now, since we are in Make It For Me March, I'm going to be putting that project together for myself, but I'm going to take you along on that journey because we are doing pearl knotting with the Knot-a-Bead spacers, which I actually don't. Oh, there it is. I was afraid my cat had knocked it off. I'm going to show you how to use this. We've done this project. We've done these kinds of projects before, but it's been a while. So a little refresher for those of you who are interested in pearl knotting and doing it with spacers. So that's the plan for today. Now, that being said, there is a prompt for you guys for this week. And the prompt, of course, is different. And the previous prompts have been kind of deep, introspective, and, thought-provoking. But this week's prompt is just a fun one. We're just going to keep it lighthearted and fun. So what I want you to do this week is create a piece of jewelry that Maybe it represents or is inspired by your very favorite snack. And that could be literally anything, right? Create a piece of jewelry that is inspired by your favorite snack. Maybe it's going to be brown because you love chocolate. Maybe it is going to be multicolored because you like dry Fruit Loops and that is your snack of choice. I don't know what it is. Only you do. But use this as your prompt to create a fun, lighthearted piece of jewelry, and be sure that you're posting that in our social media using our hashtag, please and thank you. Post those here in YouTube land and over in Facebook land. All right. Okay. So now without further ado, I'm going to turn you guys around. I'm going to show you the beads that I've been sitting on forever, and we are going to get started. So let me turn you around. All right. Adjust my lighting just a little bit. And we're going to get right into it. Okay, so we're going to be doing some pearl knotting today. And I want to remind you guys that pearl knotting does not just have to be pearls. You can hand knot in between any beads that you want to. Doesn't matter what they are. Mine, however, are these absolutely beautiful. They look like candy, don't they? Absolutely beautiful prestige, aka Swarovski, as you guys know, coin-shaped pearls in this really amazing color. It's a shifty kind of iridescent, like I don't even know how to explain this. They are purple, they are red, they are blue. It's just this really interesting, they almost have like brown to them as well. These really interesting coin-shaped prestige pearls, okay? And I'm going to create a necklace on silk thread, and I'm going to put little prestige bicones next to each one, okay? So pearl knotting, but kind of a little different. This is called the tin cup method. So where there are spaces in between here, that's that kind of tin cup style that you hear about. The little bicones that I'm using, these are prestige 3mm bicones in light cyan AB. So I'm using some little tiny babies to go between or on either side. Okay. And I'm using some silk thread here. I'm using natural silk in size 4. And here's the thing. I encourage you to pay attention to the drill holes of your beads when you are selecting your silk thread for this, because why is my camera is acting, hold on a second. Let me see if I can I change this? There we go. Okay, life makes more sense now. My camera was mirrored and I was like, why is everything off? Much better. Okay, makes more sense in the world now. So I would encourage you to pay attention to your bead sizes, the drill hole, not the bead size, when you are doing this project or this kind of project. So let me show you what I mean. My pearls actually have kind of a large hole on them, which was unexpected because most pearls, even synthetic pearls like prestige pearls and check glass pearls, usually have a very small drill hole. These surprisingly have quite a big hole on them. So I ideally would have needed like a number 6 for my silk thread for this. However, because I'm putting smaller beads on either side and the bicones have a very small drill hole, I need the number 4. So just keep that in mind. You want your thread size to match the smallest drill hole of bead that you're using. No matter what the combination is, just your thread needs to be for that smallest bead. So what does that mean? It means that when I make a knot out of this, it's not going to slip inside the drill hole of those little bicones. Okay. If it slips inside, then the knotting is completely pointless. So keep all of those things in mind. Okay. All right. Now I am using these Knot-a-Bead spacers. Now Beadalon is the maker of these, and sometimes these can be a little hard to get your hands on only because people don't know how to search for them. When you are searching for these, you need to search for Knot-a-Bead spacers. not just purl knotting spacers, because they will not come up that way. You have to look up Knot-a-Bead spacers. They come in a couple of different sizes. I think they come in a 1/2 inch and a 3/4 inch. I'm using the 3/4 inch, and I am going to show you just how easy it is to use this. Now, what's cool about this is that we're using this for purl knotting, but you can actually use this for stringing as well. If you wanted to make an illusion style design very similar to this, and instead of doing knots using crimps, you can do that, and you can still use these spacer tools to create the spaces where you need to put your crimp beads. So these are very versatile. You can use them for a lot of different things. All right, now let me show you what we are going to do. Nancy says, does the lower number mean smaller, or is it the opposite like wire? That's a great question. The smaller the number, the smaller the diameter of the silk. So it is the opposite. Okay, so what I'm going to be using is a bead tip. Now, I didn't pull one in advance because I wanted to kind of show you guys that there are a couple of different bead tips in the universe, which I'm sure you probably know. But for those of you who aren't familiar with these, I want to show them to you. So a bead tip is an ideal little cover for your first knots where you are going to attach your clasp and your jump ring, whatever your findings are going to be. Okay. They come in a couple of different little configurations. So these have a little hook on them. It's a little clamshell, which is the way I think a lot of people refer to them, as little clamshells. These are actually called bead tips. I don't know why. But they come in two different, actually, I think they come in more than just these, but these are two of the styles that you can get. So you can get the ones that have the little clamshell with the hook, or the clamshells with the little ring on them. Either one are fine. I like the ones with the hook. Some people prefer these guys. Either one is fine. I'm going to use the ones with the hook today for my project. But just so you know, and they also come in a lot of different metal colors as well. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our silk cord off of the card. And the number one question that people ask me about silk cord is, does it need to be pre-stretched? Once upon a time, yes. Once upon a time, you did have to pre-stretch your silk cord. And if you didn't do that, it would cause problems for you. But these days, Griffin silk in particular is really good about that not being the case. A lot of times they pre-soak it and wash it and pull it for you so that you don't have to worry about that. But it used to be a situation where you would take it off of the cord or off of the card, then you would soak it in water, then you would pull it, and then you would let it air dry. And if you didn't do that, the weight of the beads would make it drop, right? So like if you had all of your knots and then you wore your necklace, the weight of those beads would pull, and then all of a sudden it would pull spaces between your knots and your beads. Nowadays, that's not necessarily the case. You can still pull your cord if you want to. I just pull on it, just enough to try to pull some of the kinks out of it where it's been on the card. But otherwise, I'm not going to all that trouble to pre-soak it and dry it and all of that. You don't have to do that anymore. Now, I'm not going to say that that's true with all brands, but the Griffin silk, I've never had a problem. So, all right. Now, it also has a needle on one end. Don't take the needle off. That needle is super important. But you're going to come down to the end that doesn't have a needle. And you're going to come from the end about, 2-3 inches, and you're going to tie an overhanded knot. And you can tie a surgeon's knot or just a regular knot. I'm going to tie a surgeon's knot where I double it over. And then I'm going to pull that knot into place. Okay. Now I'm going to thread on a bead tip. Now the bead tip needs to be facing the knot. So when I take this one and I thread it on, I need to thread it on through the back. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, through the front. Okay. And then I'm going to bring that all the way down to my knot. Yes, Sherry, if you have 20-year-old cord, I 100% would wet it and stretch it. All right, so you can see how I've got that knot inside, or it's going to be inside those little clams, right? Those little clam shells. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of hypo cement or whatever your glue of choice is, and I'm going to put that onto the knot. Okay. And I'm also going to put some of it into the clamshell on both sides. So what's going to happen is the knot is going to be glued together, but then it's also going to kind of glue itself to the inside of our clamshell as well. Okay. And now you can go ahead and trim your cord, or you can trim it afterwards. I'm going to trim mine afterwards, and I'm just going to use my fingers to close that clamshell over my knot. And I do have the cord sticking out. That's fine. I'm going to leave it. I'll cut it off at the end. I am going to use my pliers to help close that clamshell. Okay. I'm going to kind of slide that cord out of the way a little bit. Now I'm going to use my round nose pliers. I love that you guys recognize that I have a new tube of glue. You guys know what the old tube looked like. It was in really bad shape. Okay, so now I am going to use my round nose pliers, and I'm going to turn a loop with my hook, and I'm going to roll it over itself. So it's kind of doubled over. Well, not completely, but you see what I'm saying. So I've rolled that into a loop. Now that is going to be my connection point for my jump rings. Okay. And then once this glue has set for a minute, I can come in with my scissors and I can trim that cord off. All right. So now we just have this tip at the end and we're ready to go. So now, is this traditional pearl stringing method? Absolutely not. But we're also not making a traditional necklace here. We're doing the tin cup style. So if I were doing beads all together and there weren't spaces in between them, I would use a wire guardian or French wire here as opposed to a bead tip. And there is a whole technique involved with that. I have several videos in my YouTube library where I do that. You guys can go and look at those if you need a refresher on those. Or we can do that in an upcoming video where I can show you that traditional method because we haven't done it in a while. But it is very different than using just the bead tip. This is like, you know, kind of the, you know, the quick and easy way to do start a project like this on silk cord. All right, so now I am ready to start adding my beads to this. And you can either preload your silk with all of the beads or you can do them one at a time. I kind of like to preload. So I'm going to preload several. I don't know that I'm going to do all of them, but I'm going to preload a bunch of them. So it's going to be a bicone, a pearl, a bicone, and then a bicone, a pearl, and a bicone. Now, don't accidentally leave out your bicone doing just a pearl, a bicone, a pearl, a bicone, because otherwise when you go to knot these, you're going to be missing one of the bicones. Okay, so don't forget, you got to have the two in between there. All right. And again, you can load this up completely, or you can do a few and do the knots, and then do a few more and do the knots. It's totally up to you. I like to try to load as many as I can so I don't have to stop. Sorry about the whiny German Shepherd. I don't know why he is crying today. He's been in his feelings all day. Cooper. Hush. My goodness. You're supposed to be a big, fierce dog. And he's not. He's such a baby. All right, so I've got several of these on here, and I'm going to show you guys the knots first, and then we can load some more on. Do a couple more, because we may not get through this entire project. And that's okay, because I'm going to finish it one way or another. But just going to take a look here to make sure that I didn't leave any bicones out. Okay, I still have plenty of beads to go, but for now, this is a good start. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop all these beads down. So we need to move these down to where our bead tip is. Okay. All right. Now, obviously, I can't do much of anything with them right up against the bead tip. So I am going to create a little bit of space here. Couple inches of space, like, I don't know, 6 to 8 inches is, you need enough to wrap around your hand. Okay, so scoop the beads down a little bit. All right, so we are going to start with beads right up against the bead tip. So I'm going to slide down my first set of beads. That's a bicone, a pearl, and a bicone. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to knot this. Now you guys know, can't remember which direction. I need these over here on this side. You guys know that I'm a rule breaker for the most part when it comes to jewelry making, where it is possible. The rest of the time I stick to most of the rules. Just in general, I do tend to be kind of a rule breaker, but this is one of those techniques where the rules 100% apply and you cannot break any of these rules at all. Okay. You cannot. You must follow these steps to a T or you will not get the results that you want. So I will go through this very slowly. I will try to explain each and every step of this process. And if you want to be successful, you will follow them to the T. Do not deviate. Do not make up your own rules here. Okay. So this is what we're going to do. I've got the cord running from left to right. Like over here is the empty end, right? All my beads are over here to the left. This is my left hand. This is my dominant hand. This is my non-dominant hand. Cord is running underneath my hand. Okay. I'm going to take this cord and I'm going to wrap it around my hand. So I am in a clockwise motion, lassoing around my hand. Okay. With the cord. And I actually only need to do this around 2 fingers, but you can do your whole hand. Wrap around my 2 fingers to make a loop, right? Clockwise. Then I'm going to take my beads and the loop that I have made, I'm going to spread that open with my fingers and I'm going to drop those beads down through that loop. Okay. Now I'm going to come in with my knotter tool. I'm going to hold this in my dominant hand. You can see that it has the needle curve. The curve in the needle, that V shape in the needle needs to match the V shape in your fingers. Those need to be going in the same direction. Okay. I'm going to come behind the loop and I'm going to hook the thread. And then I'm going to put my finger on the top of the needle to hold that thread on the needle. And I'm going to remove my fingers and I'm going to pull out all of the slack. So what happens is I pull that knot right up against my bicone. I'm going to place the cord into the yoke. That's this thing right here. Pull tight. And then I'm going to use my thumb and I'm going to push up to deliver the knot. Okay. Now you're going to get to see that time and time again, so don't worry. But that's the first knot. And you'll notice that knot is nice and secure, and it's right up against that bead. There is no extra wiggle room. We don't want wiggle room. We also don't want this to be a struggle. If you are doing this differently than I am showing you, you will struggle. Listen to what I'm saying. If you deviate from these steps, even just slightly, you will struggle. This should be an easy process, but you have to learn the technique first. Okay, now we are going to use a spacer, just like I showed you, to create some space here. We're going to create 3/4 of an inch of space between our knots. And that means we need to use this little spacer as a bead. Now, I'm not going to thread it on because that's not necessary. It's open on one side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just very gently wiggle it on to my thread, and then I'm going to slide it down right up against the knot. Now I'm going to knot against this with my tool, just like this were a bead. Okay. So the steps are the same. Cord is running underneath my hand. Okay. I'm taking it. I'm going to loop around my 2 fingers, creating a clockwise loop. Take the beads, including that little spacer, and I'm going to drop that down inside the loop that I just made. Pick up my tool. The V of the tool matches the V of my fingers. I'm going to hook the thread, put my finger on the tip, pull out the slack, and pull right up against the spacer. Okay. Place the cord into the yoke, and then push up to deliver the knot. And then I will take the spacer off, and I have 3/4 of an inch of space between my knots. Perfect, right? Exactly what I needed. Now I can slide down my next set of beads, and they're spaced out perfectly. Okay. So now we will create another knot. So wrap around the 2 fingers, drop the beads down the opening between your fingers, hook with the tool, pull out all of the slack, place that into the yoke, deliver the knot. It's perfect, right? If you deviate, it will not be. What will happen will be you will end up with space between your knots and your beads. So your beads are going to be wiggling around. You're going to be fighting as you pull out the tension, pulling. If you'll notice, your thread has it's twisted, right? It has a twist to it. You are working with the twist in this technique. If you deviate and you do your loop wrong or you pull wrong with the tool, you're pulling against the twist of the thread, and it will create bumps, and it will create not a smooth process. So I just wish that I could explain it in a better way, but you got to follow the steps. So now I'm going to slide on my spacer right up against my previous bead, right? Wrap around my fingers, drop it all down through. And there's a lot to drop. The more beads you've got, the more you've got to drop down through the loop, right? Pick up your tool. The V of your fingers matches the V of the tool. Hook the thread, put your finger on the top. Pull out the slack. Place your cord into the yoke. Press up to deliver the knot, and remove your spacer. I use my fingers a little to tighten that knot up, and there's our space. Slide down your next set of beads. Okay, and then the knot here is exactly the same, but without the spacer. Wrapping around your fingers to create the loop, drop all of the beads down the loop. Hook the thread, remove your fingers, pull out the slack, place it into the V of the yoke of the tool, and push up to deliver your knot. How pretty is that? So pretty. So, so pretty. All right. Now, spacer goes on. Sometimes I kind of wiggle a little bit with my spacer, but your spacer goes on. Wrap around your fingers. Drop it all down through the loop. Hook with the tool. Oops. My little spacer, sometimes it slides off of the thread, so you got to be careful. And deliver the knot. Take the spacer off. Tighten your knot up a little bit. And slide down your next set of beads. Okay. Around the fingers, drop everything down through the loop. Hook, put your finger on top, pull out the slack, place it into the yoke of the tool, push up to deliver the knot. And if you follow those steps, you're going to get a beautiful knot every single time. If you deviate from that, I can't make that promise. I can't make that promise. Don't do your own thing. Follow the steps. Okay. Now, the steps are exactly the same, even if you are not putting spaces in between here. You're still going to hold the tool the same way, wrap around your fingers. You're just doing it without the spacer tool. You can literally do, it's exactly the same, whether you are using the spacers or not. So just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind, right? We're going to slide on the spacer. Treat it like a bead. Wrap around your fingers. Drop everything down through the loop. Okay. Hook. Pull out the slack. Bring the knot right up against the spacer. Place it into the yoke. Whoops, don't over pull. I have a tendency to do that. Place it into the yoke and deliver the knot. Remove the spacer tool. Slide down your next set of beads. Sergeant Sarah. Listen, I'm usually not super big on the rules, except for the rules about how you crimp. Those rules can't be broken. This is another one of the rules that you just can't break. You have to follow the steps or you will not get good results. And I find that if you follow the steps, you fall in love with pearl knotting or just bead knotting in general. If you don't, you will hate it and you will be frustrated and you will never do it again. And the reason is because you're not following the steps like you're supposed to follow the steps. You know what I mean? So don't, if you are struggling with this, it's because you're doing it wrong. This should be a very easy rhythmic thing to get into. That's why people fall in love with knotting with the hand knotter tool, because you get into a rhythm, maybe not so much with the spacers, because you do have to take a little bit of extra time to place the spacer on. But when you're doing this without the spacer and you're just knotting between your beads, it should become very rhythmic and zen. And, and of course, then your results are very luxurious because nothing beats, in my opinion, whoops, I lost my spacer here. Nothing beats the feel of beads on silk. There's nothing that comes close. It is the most luxurious way to wear any bead. And you can knot in between any bead. So it doesn't just have to be pearls. You can do this between seed beads. You can do this between gemstones. You can do it between check glass. Doesn't have to be pearls. This is not limited to that. And it's also not limited to silk thread. You can do this with nylon thread. You can do this with B-lon, S-lon. You can do this with hemp. You can do it with leather. So, all right. So now we've slid down our next set of beads. We are going to, again, wrap around our fingers. And now we've got a long long strand of beads here. So we've got to drop a lot of that down. Davel's here. Hi, Davel. Davel's my new teammate, you guys. Everybody say hi to Davel. Davel is helping us with any information pertaining to the Gem Fest that is coming up in April. So if you've got any questions, Davel is here to answer your questions, and he's just extra awesome. So, you know, even if you don't want to talk about Gem Fest, you can just say hi because he's super good people. All right, placing that into the yoke, delivering the knot, and moving on to the next. All right, so we are going to take our spacer, gonna slide that on to our cord, drop that down. Okay, treating it just like a bead. Take the cord, wrap around your fingers, make your loop, drop everything down through. Just be careful because that spacer will come off of there. Okay. Make sure that the V of the fingers matches the V on the tool. Hook the thread. You're coming behind the thread to hook it, and it's the one that is closest to your body. Okay, so you're going to come behind, hook forward, put your finger on the tip, take your fingers out, and then pull out the slack. Place that into the yoke. Deliver the knot. All right. And then you're going to slide down your next beads. Susie says, Eric, did you pre-warn Davel about us? He may have. He may have. All right. Now the steps are wrap around your fingers to create your loop. Drop all the beads down through the loop between your fingers. Okay. Hook. Pull out the slack. Place the cord into the yoke of the tool, and then push up to deliver your knot. Now I can see that one of mine got a little loose, and unfortunately there's not anything I can do about it because it's already happened. It's already too late. But it's because you can see the little bit of wiggle here. It's because I didn't pull tight enough. I wasn't using enough tension when I was going to deliver that knot. So you want to be sure that you don't have the same thing happen. Now in this design, you're probably not going to notice that, but when you are doing something where you've got your pearls all lined up in a row or your beads all lined up in a row, and you have that kind of, you know, you have that, what am I trying to say? When you have that kind of space, you're going to notice it. You will notice it. And obviously the bigger the space, the more of a gap it's going to create. So just be careful that you're using consistent, tension when you are pulling. Okay. All right. So we're going to put the spacer on. Slide that down. Wrap around your fingers. Dropping it all down between the loop here. Hook. Put your finger on top. Don't let this slide off. If you don't put your finger on the top of this, now listen, you don't have to pierce your finger, make yourself bleed, but you do want to be sure that you're holding that finger in place, because if this slides off of the top of this needle, you will struggle, especially if you accidentally pull the knot down and it's not in the right spot. So hold all of that in place. That's really, really important. Okay. Place that into the yoke of the tool. Now you can take your finger off and push up to deliver your knot. Okay. Take the spacer off. Slide your next beads down. Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay, here, let me see if I can highlight this. Double says the new moon is on 18th of April and is a time for new beginnings. Join us at Gem Fest April 2026 for 2 magical days of beading, crystals, creativity, and community. Guys, as that is absolutely beautiful and very well said. Double's very eloquent. Be sure, you guys, that if you're going to be in the Austin area during April 18th, or during that week, that you sign up for Gem Fest. Okay. I will be teaching the class. I'm working on the project currently, and it's a lot of fun. We had such an amazing time last time around, so I'm looking forward to seeing some of you again, and to seeing some of you the first time in person. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Now, I will have more information for you. And of course, as I mentioned, if you've got anything you want to know, you can ask Dovell. He can tell you if you've got questions about it right here and right now. But if you're going to be in the Austin area, or if you would like to make travel plans to come and be in the Austin area, April is the time. It's going to be so much fun. So looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. All right. Wrap around. Jen, the dates have been changed just a little bit, and I will update you as soon as I know what day specifically my class will be on. Gem Fest itself is 2 days long, and I will be teaching one of those 2 days. So I will let you know as soon as that date is selected. All right. So far, let's take a look at what we've done. So we've only done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pearls, but we've already got a whole length here. So we're going to, let's do a quick little measure to see how much we've done so far. Because this method is really cool. If you don't have a ton of pearls or a ton of beads, you can create really long length, even without a lot. So we've got about a little over 12 inches of knotting so far. So depending on, how long of a necklace you want, you're gonna be able to work this up pretty quickly, and it doesn't take a ton of beads, which is great. All right. So I put my spacer on, wrap around my fingers, drop down through the loop. Just don't let that spacer come off. Mine, for whatever reason, is wanting to slide off of my cord. All right, hook, pull out all of the extra room on the thread, place that into the yoke, deliver the knot. Take the spacer off, slide your beads down. Whoops. Missing a bicone here. All right. And you can see we've got consistent space in between all of these. Now it might be off just slightly with some of them, but you would never notice. It is close enough. And the reason that it might be off just a little bit is just because this is squishy, and sometimes if you're pulling a little too tight, you might pull in a little bit tighter than other times. But for the most part, you've got pretty consistent spacing between all of your beads. Drop all those down. All right. Hook. Thank you. Ashley says these beads are so beautiful. And Gina says this is going to be striking when worn. I agree with both of you. Now, I've been sitting on these beads for a really long time. I got these back when I was working with art beads. I don't know if they still have these or not, but you definitely could go and look. But I was just in love with the color of these, like, because it's red. But it's not really a red. It's like a maroon, a purple, a blue, a silver. Like, it's all of those beautiful things. And I thought the little red accent was just a really nice little contrast to put with it. So all right, slide that on. Right around, loop around your fingers. Okay, drop everything down. You've got a lot to drop down. The further you go with this, the more beads you're going to have to send through that loop between your fingers, which is fine. Just takes a little time. Just don't let your spacer slide off. Okay. Hook, pull out the slack. Don't over pull. Okay. Place that into the yoke and deliver the knot. Oh, I pulled that one a little short. That's all right. Nobody will ever notice. Plus, it's my necklace, so you know what I mean? Like, it's okay. It's not that big of a deal. Remember, guys, remember, this is Make It For Me March. So everything we are doing here, we're doing for ourselves. And I've made it through all of the beads. So I'm going to do one more, and then I'm going to slide on some more beads here. So let's get this. Slide all that down. Pull all of the rest of the beads through the loop. Or drop them through. It's not necessarily a pull. It's more, you're just kind of dropping them down through that loop, right? Hook and pull. And deliver the knot. All right, let's go ahead and load up the rest. Let's see. I was scrolling back here a little bit just to see if there were some other questions. If I missed anything, guys, let me know. I don't think I've missed anything. Okay, just let me know if I missed any. All right, let's load up some more beads. So we're almost done with this one. Almost done. All right. And again, it's a great technique with the spaces here where you don't have to have a ton of pearls. And if you're like me, I don't always have, like, you know, I don't always have a full strand of pearls to create something with. So this definitely kind of takes the pressure off. If you've only got a handful of something, find some pretty spacer beads to go in between, you know, and then use one of the spacers. If you use the 1/2 inch, you're going to get even more room in between them. So you can really show off those beautiful beads without having to use 100 of them, you know, which is nice. Wanda, don't speak it into existence. My goodness. Does the tool work the same for left-handed people? It does. It does. It is just, it's the exact same steps. It's just going to be in the opposite direction. And I think you'll find that you won't have any problems at all. None at all. Rated PG. We're rated PG here. I don't know. Some of you got a little spicy. Oh, I wish I had some Smarties right now. Yum. All right, so Again, just making sure that I am not missing any of the bicones, because then I have to take everything off and add one in where I've missed. So just be mindful. Oh gosh. And I want this to be a really long necklace, by the way. If you're like, why are you adding so many beads? I want this one to be long. That was the goal for this. I was hoping that this could be the kind of necklace that maybe I could double over, you know, and I could either wear it nice and long, or I could make it a 2-layer. No, it does not, Kimberly. Oh, whoops. I was leaving out a bicone. Okay, now I actually have 2 more pearls that were in my little sample. I'm going to cut these off because I don't want to waste any. Right. I love Smarties. So you guys, anybody else who loves Smarties, have you noticed that sometimes the white ones are softer than the rest of them? Has anybody ever noticed that? Is it just me? I think the white ones tend to be a little softer, and they dissolve a little better. I'm just saying. They are. My kids used to hate it when they would get Smarties when they went trick-or-treating, and I would eat all of them. All of them. Okay. So I've added on all the rest of my beads, which I know looks like a lot, but this is going to be an extra, extra long necklace. And I'm going to speed up. Okay. I'm going to speed up. So now that you guys have seen this process, I'm going to try to work through it. Oh gosh, lost my spacer. I'll have to put that back on. Try to drop all my beads down. Now, I know that there are some of you who have been talking about, how can I create my own little spacer? How can I do this without trying to find the tool? Let me tell you what you can do. Now, first of all, I personally think that it is better to buy the actual spacers themselves. However, if you must do this on your own, let me tell you what will work, but is a little wonky, but will work. A coffee straw. You know the coffee straws, the really, really thin ones? Take a coffee straw, okay? Cut it the length that you want, and then cut a slit into it on one side. You can slide it on, do the same thing. The problem is, because it's not foam, and it does have a hole in it, it is a little harder to keep it on the thread. So I can't make any promises that you're going to have the best of luck with it. However, if you wanted to cheat, you can do that. You can use a coffee straw. Anything small like that. I know a lot of you guys were talking about cutting your own piece of foam, and you definitely could do that. But if you're having a hard time finding foam, coffee straw will work. It is a little, like I said, it's a little wonky. And you got to be careful that the sharp edges of the cut plastic are not cutting through your silk. Yeah, Sandy, that's the biggest issue, is that it might damage your thread. So you definitely want to be careful about that. That's why I really think that just bite the bullet and grab the spacers. I don't think they're very expensive. I think you'll be very pleased with the results with the actual spacers. But if you must do this on your own, I have seen people use the coffee straw. Just take care of your thread. Dropping all the beads down. And I'm going to go ahead and put my spacer on afterwards, after my loop, just because it seems like it stays a little bit better at this point. Hook. Deliver the knot. Bring down the next beads. Nancy says Smarties here are more like M&Ms. You're in the UK, aren't you? I'm sorry if I missed that part. UK Smarties that are chocolate are delicious, by the way. And if you are interested in grabbing any of those here in the States, you can get those on Amazon. They are quite yummy. It's definitely a bit different than the Smarties that we have here in the States, for sure. Oh, Canada. She's in Canada. And the straw won't hurt other things. So just because it might damage your silk doesn't mean that it will hurt things like leather. So, you know, you can use the coffee straw for other kinds of thread, and it's not so much a problem. You just have to be careful because that plastic can be really sharp. And if you cut even just the slightest bit of the twist that is in this silk thread, it starts to unravel and fray, and it looks really, really bad. So, but with other things that are a little bit more durable, like leather or hemp, I don't think you'll have any problems at all. All right. Use a large straw for knotting leather. Yeah. The Smarties in South Africa are chocolate too. I think it must only be here in the States that we do Smarties that are like, it's like a hard chalky candy. It is very different than the Smarties in other places, which are 100% like M&Ms. It's just a candy coated shell with chocolate on the inside. Smarties here are, it's like a little wafer. Kind of looks like a pill almost, and it's very chalky. No chocolate involved. And they come in a little roll in, you know, in a lot of different colors and different flavors too, I guess. But exactly, Wanda, I'm like you. Just get the spacers and, you know, you won't have to worry about damaging your thread. They do have giant Smarties now. I've seen them at Five Below. They're pretty good. I prefer the smaller ones personally, but yes, you can use that on leather 100%. So the knotter tool, you're going to be able to use with any kind of cord. You can use it with a ribbon. You just have to be, you know, you have to be easy with it. You don't want to, you know, you don't want to damage anything. You want to, you know, adjust your tension accordingly based on, you know, whatever kind of cord you're using. But yes, and it's all the same steps. So if I were doing this with large hole beads and leather cord, the steps would be exactly the same, with or without the spacer, obviously. But as far as the technique itself, it is exactly the same. And don't deviate from it, because if you do, you're going to struggle. That's a good problem to have, Eric. That's a good problem. That's not a bad problem. That's a good problem. Bye, Double. I'm so glad you came. Maybe you'll come again. You've definitely just made about 134 new friends that you did not have previously. So hope you're ready for that. Oh, I slipped. Did you see? And it left a little space because I wasn't paying attention. It's all right. Are they check pearls? No, they are not. These are prestige pearls. So they are the Swarovski pearls. And the millimeter on them, I can tell you, is they are 12 millimeter pearls. All right, guys. So we're at the top of the hour. It looks like we are not going to have enough time to finish this project. So I'm not going to be able to get all the way through this, but I only have a little bit further to go, which is fine. But I wanted to show you if you're using bead tips, how you would finish this off. Now, obviously, I can't show you the entire process because I'm going to have to take this off to use it at the end. But what you would do is you would do your last beads. And if you'll remember where we started, we didn't do a knot. It was just the bead tip and then the bead. So what you're going to do is you're going to have your last beads on. So let's pretend that we're at the end here. These are our last beads. Okay. And this one would have a knot behind it. We would then thread on our bead tip from the back. So when we started, we threaded it on from the front. This time we're threading it on through the back so that when we deliver that knot, it's going to be inside that way. Does that make sense? So when we strung the first one on, we went through the middle of it, through the front. This time we're going through the back. It's nice and open. And then you're going to follow the same steps to create your knot with your tool. And you're going to pull that knot down and it is going to sit right in that opening. Okay. And then you're just going to follow the same steps. You're going to put your glue on it. And then you're going to put the glue on either side of the bead tip, close that down over the top of it, and then trim off the excess. And you are going to turn your little loop here and you're going to put your hardware on the end. Okay. So it's exactly the same steps. The only difference is that you're going to put this on through the back first, slide it down, and you are going to knot down right up next to it. You will use the tool and everything. So it'll be exactly the same process. And you're going to end up with, you know what? That's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. Let me do one more bead and then we'll just take these off. We'll do it. It's no sense in me just telling you what good is that going to do you? We'll just do it. Okay. So I won't make this as long as I wanted it to be. So I'm going to do one more. I feel like I don't do a good job when I just talk you through it. I'm going to actually do it and we'll be here for an extra 5 minutes and that's okay. Okay. Slide this on. Hook that on. Deliver our knot. Take this off. Slide down our last beads. And I will just take the rest of these off. My necklace will be a little short. It's fine because I have just enough pearls to make a bracelet. And I'm not mad about that at all. So listen, not a problem. Okay. So last beads are on. There's a knot holding them in place. Thread through the back. Drop it down. Right up against my last bead. Okay. My steps are exactly the same. So we're dropping all of this down through the loop. Okay. hook, and then pull this down. When you pull this down, you're going to pull it down into the clamshell. Okay. Place your cord into the yoke. And deliver your knot. Okay. Glue. Glue on the knot. Glue in the clamshell. Both sides. Okay. Close that over your knot. Okay, move the cord out of the way a little bit so that you can do your little loop. Roll that over. Trim off the excess. And I still have lots of cord left over that I can use for the bracelet or whatever else I need to use it for. So don't throw your cord away, okay? Don't throw your cord away. Grab yourself a clasp and 2 jump rings. And you will be done. We shall add these on real quick. And then I'll be able to put this on the bust so you can see it. I don't like it when we don't have a finished project at the end. So I'm going to finish this off right now. So my jump ring goes on. My clasp goes on. Same thing on the other side. Jump ring goes on. We'll go ahead and attach it to the clasp and close it back. And there we have our hardware on the back. Okay. All right. I'm going to turn you guys around. And we will say our goodbyes. But before we do that, we will take a look at this one on the bust because it is quite beautiful. So it's not as long as I had expected it to be, but that's okay. I'm okay with it. It's still quite long. So I can show you. It is still quite long. You can see it's got those beautiful spaces between it. You can layer this with other pieces, which is my favorite way to wear necklaces like this. I don't know that this one's long enough to double over, unfortunately, but if it had been, I could double it over like this. Now, obviously, I would adjust it so that the clasp would still be in the back, but it's still just, it's so pretty. Those pearls, they're just beautiful. And I love the spaces between there. It really kind of gives it a totally different look. It's an illusion style necklace without, without monofilament. So you do get the beauty of that silk thread, which comes in a ton of different colors, by the way. So you could pick silk thread to match your beads or whatever you wanted to do. I personally like the white just because it's very classic, but you 100% could pick a different color of thread to do this. And it would be quite spectacular. I love knotted jewelry. It's just, there's just something about it. It's so pretty. You could just throw this one over your head, layer it with your other pieces, and you're good to go. All right, let's look real quick before I go. Yeah, and no crimping, says Carol. We love it when we don't have to crimp. All right. Are there any other questions before I head out? I don't think so. So this week, you guys, is a regular week. I will be here. Hardwired meets at 4 p.m. Eastern this afternoon. So if you are a Hardwired member, you can be sure that you'll be seeing me again here in just a little while. We're actually doing a design on the fly with wire, which we haven't done in a very, very long time. So that's going to be an interesting one. And then I will be back with you guys on Friday at 1 p.m. for our Feel Good Friday show. So set your reminders for that one. Next week, the schedule will be a little different because I will be in my office in Austin, but I will still see you guys. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. There is a question. Can you knot beading wire? So that is a very good question. You can knot 49 strand beading wire. I don't know if you can do it with the knotter tool. I've never done it, but can you just create knots like macrame knots and just regular knots with beading wire? Yes, you can, but the only beading wire that is capable of doing it is the 49 strand. Anything lower than that, the 19 or the 7 strand, will not hold a knot. I've never used the hand knotter tool with it, so I don't know if that is possible or not. But yes, you can create knots with it. So, all right, my friends, I am out of here. So if you are a Hardwired member, I'll be seeing you later. The rest of you guys, I will see you on Friday. So don't forget to set your reminders for that. Does it matter what side the clasp goes on? The answer to that, Miss Cindy, is no. Standard procedure says that the right side. If you're left-handed, put it on the left. Or if you're just like me and I like my clasp on the left because for whatever reason, put it on the left. It is totally up to you. Totally up to you. Oh, there's another question. How to make wrapped loops to be straight. Mine are askewed when connecting with other wrapped loops. That, my dear, is a question for another day. So let me add that to the list, and we will definitely discuss that coming up very soon. Just a reason to come back, right? Just a reason to come back for more. All right, my friends, I love you guys so, so much, and I will see some of you later. The rest of you, I'll see you on Friday. Have a great rest of your afternoon. Mwah. Bye, guys.